What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Mace Around the World. You might remember me from Mace Around the World YouTube channel, where we do reactions, as well as the Mace and May channel, where we react to food and we do cooking and vlogs and all of that stuff. But I thought I'd change it up a little bit and give you guys an inside look, not just into my studio here, the room where all the reactions go down, but I'm going to take a look at my vinyl collection, starting today with video, and it's going to be part 1. And we'll see how long that series goes. I guess it would be about 5 to 6 parts. I don't know. I think I have 60 or 70 vinyl records total. But I'm going to go through some of my favorites to begin with. We're going to do 10. We're going to do 10, and I'm going to show you guys the artwork. I'm going to give my insight, my firsthand, or at least the knowledge that I have about these particular records. You know, I'm not a music historian or anything, but I like to think I know a little bit. So let's get off to number 1, shall we? Alright, and just to preface this, I'm not saying that the number 1 is my number 1 favorite record. This just happens to be the one I grabbed. So, Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange, and this is the OST for that film. Always keep my vinyl sleeves on there. The OST, classic artwork of Malcolm McDowell there on the front, Alex DeLodge. Some of the old ultra-violence, the good and the Kroger milk bar. Yeah, some fantastic music in this film. There's the back, there's the front. It's a pretty one. Some of the best cinematography, thought-provoking stuff. Produced and directed by Stanley Kubrick, of course, based on the book by Anthony Burgess. It's a wonderful film, wonderful film. So let me know if you guys like this soundtrack, you've seen the film, and what you think about this vinyl right here. I think it's a very nice looking vinyl. Ta-da! Number 2, the best of my man, Vangelis. I came to know Vangelis, basically it's a funny story, through Run the Jewels. Originally, I believe so, because LP was a big fan of Blade Runner and the original soundtrack from that film. And of course, Vangelis is the one that did the entire soundtrack for Blade Runner, and some of his very, very, very best work. So this is a collection of his early works. You've got some great tracks on here. I like to put this album on if I'm doing some cleaning around the house. It really energizes me and turns off my brain and allows me to just turn into a super cleaner mode, which I'm not usually very good at. So the best of Vangelis, you've got classic tracks like Spiral, Polestar, To the Unknown Man, Albedo 0.39, which is actually one of his records. You can find all of this on Spotify, you guys. So look at that beautiful cover, kind of abstract, but some beautiful art. And there's my man Vangelis in the back. Where were we? Okay, number 3, MF Doom, Boo. Of course, I had this record a long time before MF Doom passed away. One of my favorite wordsmiths, one of my favorite MCs, one of my favorite artists of all time. This guy was just a genius. He really, really got it, and he just put his hand in the pop culture and just did it. He nailed this persona, this ethos, this whole thing that he was going for with the man behind the mask, all caps when he spelled the man's name. It's a beautiful album. It's probably, definitely one of his best. Madvillainy is pretty good too. And here you go. You got the album cover right here. It's beautiful. Check that out. And don't miss the little MF Doom down there under the table. It's classic. So many classic songs. Beef rap. I can rap the entire thing still to this day. All right, that's number 3. All right, you guys, number 4, and this is a behemoth. This is Run the Jewels 3, produced, of course, by LP with his collaborators, but it's the combination of Killer Mike and LP. They came together in 2013 to release Run the Jewels 1. So far, they've released 4 records. Run the Jewels 4 is one of the best albums of last year, and Run the Jewels 3 was one of the best albums of 2016, or 2017, considering they released it just at Christmas time in 2016. But it's an absolute classic. This thing is beautiful. This vinyl right here is absolutely exquisite. You have all of the instrumentals with it, all of the instrumental tracks, all of the, you know, so it's 4 times LP is what they call it, and it's just a thing of beauty. I really, really love this album. Look at that artwork. It's absolutely exquisite. It's just, look at it, look at it, look at it, enjoy it. So after number 4, we are on to number 5, and I just put up 4, but actually put up 5. This is Madvillainy, an absolute, this is a bona fide, undisputed classic of hip hop, and it's the collaboration between MF Doom and Madlib. Came out in 2004, and it's just full of classic tracks. The Illest Villains, Accordion, meat grinder. Like, there's just so much on this thing that is amazing. The record is hailed as just a classic throughout all genres. I think there's a lot of people that don't even particularly like hip hop, and they're gonna have this in their top records. Look at that album artwork; it's absolutely just fantastic. It's like, I get you, dude. There's a great video on the internet of Mos Def talking about this record and talking about Doom, and rest in peace to Doom himself, the man Daniel Dumoulin, absolute legend in rhyming and just hip hop. Number 6, we got Funkadelic Brain. This album, I honestly don't know that much about Funkadelic. Obviously, they're psychedelic rock funk group from the 70s, but I do know that this album is an absolute classic. I've listened to it a lot. It's just, the soundscapes are exquisite, just the musicianship out of this world. Look at that album cover. On the back, you got this like skull, the opposite, kind of contrast there. Yin Yang, Maggot Brain, produced by George Clinton. Of course, it's produced by George Clinton, the absolute founder, the father, basically, of this type of funk and rock, and it's just a beautiful record. Number 7, we got Run the Jewels again, my friends. You might have noticed I'm kind of a fan. Run the Jewels 2 came out in 2014, and this is what really cemented their legacy. Jalen Moline, Killer Mike, LP, and Michael Render. I said that in a quick way, but this record is an absolute banger from start to finish, banger after banger after banger. But it's really where they came into their own. They started they took it more seriously. Run the Jewels 1 was an experiment. It was just to make some bangers, and then this came along. Man, oh man, did it just change a lot, man, for me. Look at that. Look at. Oh, it's great. We have number 7 for today's video, part 1. JJ Doom, Keys to the Cuffs. Another Doom project, so a lot of Doom, a lot of RTJ in this part 1 of this series. This is a classic. I mean, it's not really hailed as a classic, but I think it was an interesting side to Doom. It's really one of his last full LPs where he was writing raps and performing raps. His voice got a little bit gravelly, a little bit older. He sounded meaner. He sounded like angry almost on some of the tracks, but he's also spitting knowledge on tracks like GMO. He's talking about genetically modified ingredients, and talking about the government, and just, he's still the same old Doom, cantankerous, but absolutely killing it. Artwork's great, and that was in collaboration with JJ Generell, I think his name is. He did all the beats, Doom did all the raps. Alright, Ill Communication by the Beastie Boys, an absolute classic of a record. My favorite track on this is probably Sure Shot, but Beastie Boys were really on a roll there in the early 90s with records. Of course, License to Ill was the first one, but then they had Ill Communication, and before that, Check Your Head, and then 4 years later they had Hello Nasty, of course. But look at that, the album cover is amazing, it's great. And look at that, the inside of that book is fantastic. So, classic album, Beastie Boys. I wouldn't even say they're not underrated at all, because everybody knows they're just legends. I love how they were musicians as well, like they played their own instruments, and they were true just legends in that. And look at that, it's got all the lyrics, every single lyric spitted on this thing. Aesop Rock, The Impossible Kid. This is probably my favorite Aesop Rock record. Ryan Sayers Entertainment, 2016. Look at that artwork, it's absolutely amazing. It comes with this massive, huge poster, which eventually one day I will put up in the man cave area. And this poster is huge. It's like 8 foot by 4 foot. I don't know how big it is. It's got to be 6 feet tall, but it's incredible. Look at that. I think the album artwork by Jeremy Fish. This is one of those records where Aesop, he's a very abstract guy. It's very hard to gauge his music. It's hard to decipher sometimes what he's trying to say and the meaning behind his songs. This one had a lot of more personal tracks, about Kamuteo, one of his best friends who passed away, about his cat, Hey Kirby, about his cat, and yeah, it's just a fantastic record. Look at that, it reminds me of Stranger Things. Love the color scheme. So that's number 10. Alright, so I think with that, we will call it a day on this exploration into the Mace Around the World vinyl collection as it is right now. You know, I'm definitely not a huge vinyl head or anything like that. I haven't bought a record in probably over a year, maybe over 2 years. Sometimes if I'm at a thrift shop, I'll flip through the vinyls that are on sale for like 50 cents, $2, $3. But yeah, I don't really listen to them that much. Sometimes I do though, and for nostalgic reasons, it's always beautiful to hold that record in your hand, look at the artwork, listen to the music, and support the artist all at the same time. And like I said, when the deal's down. So, thank you for joining me. We will see you all very soon. Of course, reactions, you can leave comments down below. What do you think? What do you got? Do you have vinyl? Do you collect music? Anything like that? What do you collect? Anything? Alright, peace out. Later, everybody. Bye-bye.